What happens if a situation arises that you were unprepared for? A situation such as a blizzard, a tornado, or being locked down due to a virus. Put yourself in any possible situation that could arise. Now ask yourself, what would you do? Where would you go? What do you need? Are you ready? Because what if tomorrow? Welcome to What If Tomorrow. I'm Philip.
And I'm Mark.
And I messed that up. It's been a bit, hasn't it? Been about a month? Pretty close.
3 weeks anyway. Yeah.
3 weeks, yeah. It's been kind of a rough couple of weeks for Mark and I. He was sick here a couple of weeks ago. Hey, Enzo. My mom was in the hospital last week. She had a pretty bad bout of pneumonia, but thankfully she is healing and she is home. So we kind of postponed all that good stuff for the show and all that. So thank you guys for hanging out and being patient with us. Life happens, and to everybody. So I do want to say thank you guys. Hey Tim, for hanging out and already been down this road. I'm not awake today. It's been a long week. You can see I'm drinking coffee here.
It is the end of the quarter, sir.
Yep, it's definitely been busy. Man, tonight we'll just get right into it. Over the weekend, my wife and I and my kids, we went down to Pryor, Oklahoma to an event. It's the third annual, I guess, Okie Homesteading Conference. I tell you what, that is a great event to go to if you are interested in preparedness, homesteading, anything in that circle. I would highly recommend going to it. I think we got the pre-sale tickets last year when they announced the dates. I think it was like $35 for my wife and I to go for both days. The kids were free. We kind of weren't sure about taking the kids, but we're like, I think it would be a good thing to do, to kind of get them in that atmosphere, and maybe they'll learn something. They'll see other kids there and kind of maybe take an interest into something. Honestly, I don't think that really happened, because they're kids. They did pretty well sitting through the classes. But there's so much information being passed at this place. All the classes there are different. My wife and I, we went last year, and I think we talked about it on here when we got back, but we only went to the Friday event. And I bet attendance just for a Friday morning, you figure people are working, there may have been some maybe on spring break or something like that, but I bet attendance for a Friday morning had quadrupled from last year.
That's a lot.
The expo center, whatever you want to call it, the main building there, it's at the fairgrounds there in Pryor. It's a big building, and you can partition it into 3 different rooms. But they had it set up east and west. Well, the very first morning, the entire floor was opened up. Then after the first class, they closed it off. And the same thing was Saturday, but it was full. I mean, standing room only. All the seats were taken. It was just standing room because there were that many people interested in what was being taught. The Max YouTube channel did the first show or the first class Friday morning. We got there a little bit late, so we kind of came in on the tail end of it. And then Saturday morning, they in the homestead circle, there's a gentleman by the name of Joel Saladin. he is like from what they say, he's like the godfather of homesteading. I mean, he's speaks everywhere. He's on all sorts of. I don't think he has a YouTube channel. I haven't looked into him a whole lot because my wife knew who he was, but I had no clue. Um, but I know he's on several people's YouTube channels, and he was doing a class. I think he did 2 classes Saturday. We didn't catch the last class because we needed to get home and get chores done. It's like an hour and a half drive. But so we needed to get home and get chores done, but we got kind of tied up Saturday towards the end of the day, but that's okay. But his class was on, like I said, basically building your homestead, on how to set it up, your water. I mean, there was some crazy information he was passing. Something like, he was talking about water catchment. I mean, because if you on your homestead, if you don't have water, you don't have life. You got to have access to water. And he's like, get away from wells. Because it's such a pain. Because if a farmer down the road uses chemicals, it can contaminate your aquifer and all that. He said, start catching your rainwater. Start, get a pond dug or whatever. And he started breaking down the numbers, and the numbers, I mean, blew my mind. He's like, on 1 acre of land, he said 1 inch of rain equals about 300,000 gallons of water on 1 acre.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And he's like, for every 3 raindrops, 1 raindrop is runoff. So he's trying to put it in perspective on how much water you could collect. Like in Colorado, it's illegal, all that, but so definitely check where your laws and all that good stuff. And he's talking about if you have a 1,200 square foot roof. I mean, he had it broke down by the numbers. He said if a 1,200 square foot roof with an inch of rain is like 30 some thousand gallons of water.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he just kind of put it in perspective, and he's talking about, building ponds and plumbing. I mean, he got it down to the nuts and bolts. I mean, he's telling you how to like feed off streams and cisterns. And I mean, it was really interesting talk. I really enjoyed the talk. And, I was sitting there typing notes on my phone because I forgot a pen and paper, and I'd rather have pen and paper. That way I've got the notes physically, because we preach all the time, have a physical copy of your books or what have you. But if you are interested in preparedness or starting a homestead, or if you live on a homestead and you're trying to get things figured out like we are, go look this guy up because he is sharp. And I think the last class that he did was something like making $12,000 an acre off chickens or something like that. And I'm like, we didn't get a chance to see that, but and
That's
that's
a lot.
yeah, it's a year, and it's like field grade or free range chickens on the on a field or whatever. And my only qualm about that is here where I live, we have so many coyotes and so many hawks. So mine are pinned up, and it's a full pin, overhead, all that to keep that from happening. Because you always hear people out there that are free ranging their birds. You always hear, well, dang hawk got my chicken, or coyotes ran off, killed a bunch of chickens, or a stray dog got all my chickens, or
That happens a
whatever.
lot.
It does. Now, I mean, there's ways to avoid that. You can, especially like Premier One fencing. It's like a net electric fence, and it works great. We have one for our hogs, and we just trained them to it here a few weeks ago, and they'll zap the crap out of you. I felt bad kind of for our guilt, man, because I watered, so she got her big old drink and her nose was all wet and stuff, and nailed that fence. Boy, she squealed. But yeah, I mean, um, I think we only attended one class on the first day. Um, it was about beekeeping and all that, kind of how to get started, because that's something we're interested in. But we went around more Friday talking to the vendors, and because there were guys there from Oklahoma for like taking kids on youth hunts. It's all nonprofit. and they had a drawing and stuff like that. And then we were talking to some other beekeepers. It was the same family, and this guy has bees in uh, every county in Oklahoma.
Oh
So
wow.
he's got a big operation. He goes around and handles bees. He'll catch swarms and set them up. And, I mean, it's a kind of a legacy business. I mean, he said his grandfather taught him, but he turned it into a business. And they were selling something over in the other building, at their booth. They had things to catch swarms with, or plus they were selling honey and all sorts of whatever, beeswax candles and all that, and I gotta respect them, because they're taking what their art and turning into a profit, and ideally that's what we all want to do. Um,
And honey will always have value, even if we have,
Absolutely it will.
if we have something where the preppers come into their own, uh, some sort of big emergency, and honey keeps forever,
Right.
almost literally. It They have found edible honey that's thousands of years old.
Yep.
Hmm.
But then I think another class, my wife went and she wants to learn how to make sourdough bread. So she went to that class. Well, at the same time, there was another class, and we're going to try to get this lady on because it's a whole new perspective it was for me. Um, but it directly affects me. And if you have kids, it would directly affect you. Um, and she was big in the homeschool, and her name was Cody. Man, I can't remember her name now. Um, Lord, I may have it on here somewhere. Hold on. Man, I'm so unprepared tonight.
That is the story of my life, sir.
All
Do
right.
not, do not feel like the Lone Ranger, because that is the story of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember her name. But she was from Northern Idaho, and she came down to do a talk, and she had a booth, but she's big into homeschooling. She homeschools all her kids. She's got kids, I think, that are adults now, and all the way down to, I think, 4 or 5. Um, but it's teaching your kids to be self-sufficient, how to go about doing that, and kind of getting them to unplug. Which I see it with my kids. They want to spend all their time on devices and all that, and because they're addicting. You get
Oh
that
yeah.
serotonin hit, and so we have to really monitor what they're doing. Not to mention all the other stuff out there that you don't want your kids around, that's there. I mean, we were just talking before the show, about the Facebook or our Facebook page, people trying to post porn and stuff on there. And, so we had to lock it down. Um,
I
but
just don't understand why.
right. People think it's funny or whatever. I don't know, but I think it's disgusting. Um, but her presentation and her take on getting your kids involved in homesteading or preparedness. I mean, she's got classes on survival and stuff like that for homeschool. And ultimately, I would love to be able to have my wife leave her job and homeschool, get our kids out of that system. I mean, you guys are listening there. You guys are no stranger to our opinions. So, and I think what's so attractive to me about homeschooling is because you actually get to teach them real world lessons, something that they can use in the world. And in school, how much stuff do you remember from school?
Um,
you
Not a
you know what I
whole
mean?
lot. I mean,
Yeah,
history mostly because I loved history, but
right,
um, I remember how socially awkward I was.
right. I mean, but really, all these classes that we took, we don't use a lot of them. I mean, sure, we still use math, but it's basic math. I mean, neither one of us are engineers or anything like that, so there was really no need for us to advance. Uh,
I do
but
sometimes use algebra, very rarely.
yeah, yeah, and I think we do in our head. You got to figure out this and that. Well, I've got this and that. So, okay, we can figure this out. I mean, and that even applies to like torque and all that stuff, which isn't hard. But your average person probably, unless they're in some kind of engineering or scientific area or accounting, anything like that, you're probably not going to go to that high level math. And I'm not knocking it. I think math is a good thing, but are we focusing too much on it? I guess is a thought that I had. Because I mean, my son, my 20-year-old and my 9-year-old, they're math whizzes, man. They've got it. My 9-year-old's already working pre-calculus. I'm like, man, you rock and roll. Don't ask me for help because I don't have a
Yeah,
clue.
yeah, yeah.
But you keep doing it, man. I mean, I'll encourage it, but I won't tell them, hey, no, you need to back off math.
I don't have the numbers here, but homeschooling kids who are homeschool are much better prepared for college.
Mm-hmm.
They're much better prepared for the real world.
Mm-hmm.
My niece and my nephew were both homeschooled by my sister-in-law. My nephew is 16 years old, and he is going to graduate college before he gets his high school diploma.
That's awesome, man. That is totally
He
that's
he
great.
is he is going he's taking college classes. He's going to have a college degree.
That's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Well ahead of his peers, and he's going to have a practical skill as a welder, and he's going to have an associate's of science and everything that goes with that. And that's, you know, the one-on-one time that you're able to spend with your kids makes the difference. They don't get one-on-one time in schools. If you're lucky to have a small school, they may only have to compete with 20 kids for the teacher's attention. But when they're
Right.
being homeschooled, one or two siblings usually tops.
Well, after here it is right here. I found her website. It's Cody Hanner, and she's made up this curriculum and has gotten it approved. She's got a podcast, and we actually talked. I went over and spoke with her after the class because I was just impressed and blown away by the information that she shared and the ideas that she had. And I was like, listen, I said, I loved your class. I said, by far, I mean, Joel Saladin was a great class. I mean, he's renowned in this circle, but your class to me was probably my favorite because it hit home, you know, and she's a blogger. She's a podcaster. She's got a YouTube channel, but she's not really pursuing that. So I got to talking to her. I was like, listen, I said, I host a podcast and we talk preparedness. And like I said, this is a whole new perspective for us. I would like to invite you to come on. And she's like, absolutely. She said, she said, I podcast too, and, so maybe, we could do some collab or something. You guys can do ours or I can do yours and you guys can jump on mine. She said, I'm booked out for like a month and a half, but her daughter is like her podcast manager. Her daughter's like 15.
That's what we
And
need is a 15-year-old to manage her.
I know it.
Yeah.
But her daughter schedules everything and all that. So she don't have to. And maybe that's what we need is a podcast manager. But it's really, I mean, just the information that she shared, I wish I could share more. But I was just so impressed with her. Like I said, she was well spoken. She actually had kind of two talks. She broke down how to get the kids involved, and then the next course was kind of the scientific theory or the scientific process or whatever. Come up with a hypothesis. Well, this is why it's acting this way, and she used like her dairy cows for example, because their dairy cow's milk was tasting kind of metallic, and they were trying to figure out why. Okay, well, we need to do this and add this much. And she related that with her kids and applied it to homeschool.
Nice.
But what's awesome is, she's in charge of her own homeschool. And she was telling us, after the class when we were talking with her, and I felt bad because she just kept talking, and she was getting ready to eat lunch. And I'm like, I don't want to keep her from eating. I just wanted to come over and say, man, it was an awesome class and I want to invite you. But she just kept talking. She's a really personable person. And she said that, there's days if my daughter is having a bad day or whatever, she's like, school's not for you. Go do whatever you got to do. Like, you're not going to worry about school today. You're going to go handle you. Then tomorrow we'll pick it back up again. And that's cool. You don't have that luxury. So in that aspect, it's way better for the kids, especially as a teenager, you're like,
It's more
yeah,
natural.
yeah, yeah,
Everybody used to educate their own kids.
right. So, I mean, it gave us ideas, and I got to sit down with my wife. We're going to talk about it and see how we can incorporate that with us and try to get our kids more involved, and get them, because she talked about a lot about making the kids responsible if it doesn't happen. One example, and I thought it was pretty comical. She made the comment that everybody in her home helps with dinner in one way or another. She's like, everybody eats out of the same kitchen. They can help. Well, makes sense to me. Okay, I agree with that. She's like, it doesn't matter how small they are. She's like, you can have, younger kids cutting up vegetables and stuff, for the older kids cooking and all that. You're putting them to work, I mean, you're not really making them work, but you're making them a part of what's going on. And she's like, and if they don't help, guess what? They don't eat. She's like, kids aren't going to starve overnight, I promise you. So I was like, yeah, she's like, and a lot of parents now are overprotective. They do it just so they can get it done faster, or they don't let the kid do it because they're afraid they're going to mess it up or, hurt their feelings or whatever. She's like, no, that's how you learn. That's how they need to learn it. It's like, man, she's absolutely right. So I look forward to, I'm going to reach out to her probably tomorrow. I was going to give her time. I don't know if she drove or what from Idaho, so I was going to give her tomorrow to
That's
kind
a
of reach
trip
out to
now.
her. Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to reach out to her, send her an email, and see if we can get her scheduled, because I said, I don't know what your schedule's like. I know your book. She said, I can do it anytime. She said, I pre-record my show. I was like, well, okay, great. I said, we usually do it Mondays, 7 p.m. Central. So if you're able, we'd love to have you on and just have a conversation with you.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, so I think it would be great. And then Saturday, this was Saturday, where we sat through that class, and I think that's the last class we sat through. And or no, did we? Yeah, we did. We didn't catch the last class with the Max, because he was talking, the top 10 things to stockpile. I watch him on YouTube. I was like, it's probably going to be one of his talks on YouTube, this and that. So we'll just go hang out for a little bit and, let the kids play on the bouncy houses, burn off some energy before we left, because we're going to be riding for an hour and a half. And well, he got finished with the talk or whatever. And I actually got talking to a vendor, and I was going to promote it. I'll promote it on the Fringe, just because he was such a nice guy. They were from over by Hannibal, Missouri. And we got to talking just kind of about the stuff he made, and he's like, but my big money is going to be this. And he pulls out this book, and it's got a picture on Bigfoot, and he gets to tell me all about this picture, how it's rare. And it was actually back in the 1800s. And he said, I got the story in the book. And he said, but I'll tell you the story. It's not a big deal. And all that. So he did, and we just got to talking Bigfoot and cryptids, and he's had experiences with Bigfoot all his life over there, and all that. He said, it's a 3-part book, Then I invited him to come on the show. He's like, man, I really don't know a lot, and he's probably in his 70s. But he's like, I don't really, I'm not good with technology. I said, well, fair enough. I said, I said I'll do you one, and I'll promote it on the book. And I said, I'll buy it. It's only like $10 on Amazon or whatever. He said, I wanted to set it low so everybody could read it, So, well, that's cool. Man,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
cool, And, I said, man, I'll pitch it for you. I mean, it's a good conversation to have. We talk a lot about it on the podcast, and, so I'll pitch it and I'll share the link and all that good stuff and just try to help you out, man. And that's what I really like about going down there is something you and I preach on is the community. The community down there is phenomenal, man, because we're all there for a common purpose to learn the homestead, to learn preparation, to, new ideas and new thoughts. And that's what it's about. Really, it is.
Yeah.
Because
I want to go one of these days.
Well, I will let you know when the next one is.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend it.
I'll pre-order.
I would highly recommend it. It's a good day trip. It's not too far from us. But anyway, once I got finished talking with him, my wife and kids were walking back and forth. My daughter run up to me. She's like, Dad, you're not going to talk to him all day. But he was the type of guy. It was just so hard to get away from him, because he just wanted to talk. And I didn't have anything against him, and I didn't have anything pressing. So we visited for a while. And so we got done, and the Macs were back in their booth. Well, I had talked to him Friday about coming on the show, invited him, because we invited him here a couple months ago because I really like his YouTube videos, and he's like, we're like the same wavelength. And I said, man, I reached out to you. You replied and all that. He said, man, I'm sorry. I said, I'm not judging. I said, I get it. You're busy. You got stuff to do. He said, no. He said, I get so many emails because he's got like 250,000 YouTube followers.
Oh, wow.
And he said, I'm always getting emails and all that. He said, so make sure you keep emailing me. I said, fair enough. Then he gave me a card. He said, write down your email. I said, fair enough. Okay, I'll do that. He said, just make sure you keep emailing me. Okay, I'll do it. No, not a problem. We visited for a couple more minutes and we went and did our thing, Well, Saturday we went back over there. My wife wanted to go buy a t-shirt from him. And I, we were just talking. I didn't bring anything about the show up or nothing like that. I did have my hoodie on because it was cold Saturday. And he, we were getting ready to leave. He said, make sure you email me. You get a hold of me, because I bet we sat and visited for like half an hour just talking about things. And my wife was asking some tips on YouTube because of the Night Acres, which if you're not subscribed, by the way, go check it out. We got new videos coming out. So, but I mean, the sense of community there was amazing. It's the second year in a row. We've never seen anybody was rude. Friday, like I said, I mean, there was a ton of people there. They had 2 food trucks that didn't show up. So we sat in line for an hour to get our lunch, which was crazy expensive. It was like $80. And, so he's like, we're not doing that tomorrow. We're just going to go get some sandwich stuff, throw it in a cooler, grab some water so we're not buying drinks. So that's what we did. But yeah, all the food trucks ran out of food. Because, and then the next day they had what they call it, a Cherokee hog fry or something like that, which people were lined up for. I was like, it was like $10 for a plate, which wasn't bad. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on there because I seen people with it, but I was like, I'll just go eat my sandwich, because it got pretty expensive. I mean, you're buying stuff, and the kids had a ball. It's definitely a family affair. They had a like a little all girl bluegrass kind of old style country music playing. They were really good. It's not my kind of music, but they were really good. They sing the national anthem every morning. It's salt of the earth people. And if that's what you're looking for, if you want great information, I implore you to go if you're anywhere close. And no matter where you're at, that's not an excuse because in between classes, we watched the first class with Joel Salas, and the next class, it was about how to build a business with your homestead. And the guy was having technical difficulties trying to get his slideshow to go. So the MC, who was Arms Family Homestead, because this is all put on by YouTubers. And they were doing a giveaway with one of the vendors. It was a seed vendor. They had like seed vaults and packets of seeds and stuff like that they were giving away. And so he asked, in here right now, who came from the farthest away? How long did you have to drive? He said, bathroom breaks don't count. How long did you have to drive? And there was a family there from Delaware.
Wow.
It was like 21-hour drive to come to this thing. There's other people there from Pennsylvania, and I mean, just from all over coming into this thing. So I would highly recommend it. I'll share it when they announce next year's. I'll share it on the Facebook group and the What If Tomorrow media page. Because man, yeah, Enzo, Delaware, that was crazy. Just to come to a little podunk town in northeastern Oklahoma for this event. And like I said, there was so much information, pretty much anything you wanted to learn. I mean, and they had demonstrations going too. They had like goat milking demonstrations. They had hog castration demonstrations. Chicken butchering. I mean, they have like 3 to 4 classes going on at one time. So, I mean, pretty much something for everybody. If there's something you want to get into, they've got a class for it.
Nice.
I would definitely recommend it. So, but yeah, all in all, it was a great time. Good people. The kids enjoyed it overall. Riley's like, I can't wait to come back next year. My 7-year-old daughter, she's like, I can't wait to come back next year.
Nice.
So they're pumped, ready to go back. I mean, and we even let them out of school for Friday, just to take them down there. So anyway, we'll shift gears and move on to the other topic tonight. And this may not be part of the topic, but I want to tie in here because there's a possibility, and I'm not, I mean, everybody kind of knows me. I mean, my tag there, Rabbit Hole Man, my conspiracy mindedness and all that. I'm not convinced there's a lot that's going to happen with this eclipse, but I do want to share something that is going on right now. But my daughter's sitting there giving me the death stare. What's wrong? You mad because I mentioned you on here? Yeah. But anyway,
be careful. She's going to be the one picking your nursing home.
I know it. She's kind of feral. But I want to bring this up because I think there's a possibility this may tie into it somehow, some way. I've been into biblical prophecy as of late. And if you're not familiar with the red heifer prophecy, it's from, let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh yeah, that'd be fun, Enzo. It'd be kind of cool. 5.5 hour road trip to the darkest part of the eclipse. The only thing that'll stop me is cloudy weather, right? But anyway, I'm just going to give a quick summary of this. This red heifer prophecy, okay, the Hebrew, the Jewish religion, in prophecy, there is supposed to be a third temple mountain built, or third temple on the Temple Mountain built, where the big mosque is in Jerusalem. Everybody kind of knows, it's kind of iconic, in our worldview. But in prophecy, the third temple is supposed to be rebuilt. To cleanse that, to be ready for that, they have to sacrifice another red heifer, a 10th red heifer. There's been 9 done in history. Those 9, the last one that was sacrificed was during the time of Moses. So all these thousands of years now, what's crazy about it is like it's all happened here recently. They're ready to go. They have everything they need to build a temple. They have 4 unblemished red heifers. And to give you an idea of what they're looking for, I pulled this up here. Where'd it go? Yeah. It's got to be completely red, no spot, no blemish. Can have no more than 2 non-red hairs, and the hoofs also have to be red. So they have to be perfect. It has to be female. It has to be used it hasn't been used for labor, no yoke or nothing like that. It's never been bred, and it's got to be between 3 and 4 years old. Right now, they have 4 over there that were shipped the first part or just before the October 7th attack. They were shipped from Texas to Jerusalem, and they came out in January. Hamas came out in January and said that is one of the reasons why we attacked, because of this prophecy. So whether you believe the prophecy or not, people do, and some people take it seriously. I don't have the article pulled up, or I would read it, but Hamas claims that the reason they committed this attack on October 7th was because of this red heifer prophecy, because they have the heifers in Israel. I've done a little bit of looking into it, and they already have the sacrificial altar built, ready to go. And they're actually talking about sacrificing these red heifers because they mix it with they mix the blood with the ash and all that stuff, and that is part of their the purifying ritual for the Temple Mount. But they're looking at sacrificing these heifers by Passover, and Passover is like April 22nd, so it can be here anytime. If you believe in prophecy, a lot of people are speculating that this could be a signal for the end times. I'm not going to go all into that because there's so much out there with Revelation, the book of Daniel, Matthew, John, all that stuff. But it is a sign of the times. And the reason I bring this up is because there's a lot of speculation on this April 8th solar eclipse, because there's so many conspiracy theories flying around. And they're and legitimately with, why are they calling the National Guard in? NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical troops, all this. That is it something that the National Guard just in general can't handle? I understand they're looking at massive amounts of people, all that. I get that. In all honesty, that's probably more likely what the case is, because they're being activated to kind of do crowd control.
Well, and in case of a terrorist action,
right?
Obviously, Hamas takes this stuff seriously. So,
right, and it's kind of I don't know. I kind of get off into these theories and try to understand and wrap my head around it, because there's a lot of biblical prophecies there. People are saying supposed to pass near like 7 Ninevehs and the sign of the whale, which is supposed to be, right above where the eclipse is supposed to be, the constellation. Then you have the Devil's Comet, which is supposed to be visible that day. All that. So a lot of people are saying, well, is this a sign from God? Because in the Bible, it does talk about the sun, the moon, the stars being used for signals, from God or whatever. Enzo said the idea is once the main part of the eclipse is over, everyone will hit the highways at the same. Yeah, and that's probably correct. I would definitely believe that. And all these municipalities and places that are going to be affected for the entire totality, they're telling people to stock up, food, water, all that. Don't get out if you don't have to. Telling kids to stay home from school, which I completely understand. I mean, I know what I believe, and like I said, I'd be willing to bet this is the case because it's strictly for safety. But like you said, Mark, I think there's a possibility that something may or could. I'm not going to say may, but could happen. But so what is it? I mean, because I don't remember. It was at 2018, that last one, 2017, 2018. The other one that goes all the way across was that there wasn't nothing like that.
No.
They didn't call up anybody, and maybe it's a lesson learned type thing. They had so many millions of people in the area
Kind
that
of like New Year's Eve on steroids.
right. But one, they talked about the one in 2017. It went through from the West Coast to the East Coast, and went through towns like 7 towns named Salem or something like that. I'm not really versed on it. I'm going to be honest. But it's a big news item right now, so I want to kind of touch on it. And then this one here is supposed to come up through Texas and go up through Canada and all that up on the East Coast and all these towns of Nineveh and all that. Well, if you look at it, it's only going to go over 2 towns named Nineveh. It's not going to go over all 7. Now, all 7 are close to it, but it's not going to be totality in or over all of them. It's just going to be 2 of them. Yeah, absolutely. And so there's a bunch. I mean, you have Bethesda and Salem. They're saying, well, it's a spin on Jerusalem, and But Enzo said, do you realize how many biblically named towns there are in the U.S.? Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
it's a significant percentage.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to poo-poo or say, I believe one way or another. If anything, I lean more towards it's just a total eclipse. It doesn't happen all that. I think the next one is supposed to be like 40 years from now. So some people, it may be the last chance to ever see one.
Well, I can see that.
I mean, I get that. The one that does intrigue me, though, is I think there's supposed to be a lunar eclipse, a blood moon just before, like a week or 2 before, if I remember right. I'm not sure the exact date, and I may be wrong, but I want to say I've heard that. Yeah, Enzo said 20 years for the continental U.S. That's why he's going to go to the middle of it. Yeah, that's cool. Where are you going, Enzo? You going to Broken Bow or Little Rock or? But I was trying to see if it'll pop up real quick. But anyway, the one that does intrigue me, it was the New Madrid fault line because it crosses right over that, and the rumor has it, and I have not researched to see how valid it is, and if anybody has going for Central Arkansas, okay, cool. I can't say how valid it is, but they're saying that the last time it was like that, there was 2 eclipses close, crossed over New Madrid, and shortly after that, the earthquake set off. And it was crazy. I mean, one of the largest earthquakes in national history. Made the Mississippi run backwards and all that stuff. So that was probably one of the first. Okay. Enzo said there was a prenumeral lunar eclipse last night. Okay. But that kind of intrigued me. Is that something? I mean, I don't know that the moon would have that effect or what have you. I mean, tidal forces, I get. But I just don't know. I mean, we can speculate all day long on what could be, or if we wanted to do a really deep dive and get into the fringe part of it and all that stuff. I mean, it's anybody's guess, in my opinion. It really is.
I mean, the moon has been orbiting the Earth for how many millions of years, billions, and it goes over fault lines every day. I'm not sure how much effect that would really have on a fault line.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure it does set off quakes all the time, but it'd be interesting to see how many times the moon has passed over New Madrid and nothing has happened.
Right. Right. Um,
Huh.
I don't know, but I mean, but we're here. Yeah, Enzo said that. He said, "Well, there are some tribes that say it wasn't always in our skies." Yeah, yeah. It's like Have you guys seen the pictures of supposed Nibiru here lately? You know,
Uh-uh.
the Planet X or whatever that's supposed to come through the solar system and wreak havoc and all that. And um, there's a lot of there's so much speculation going on with this eclipse. You know, you have the spiritual side, you have um just all sorts of different theories going on. There's one I seen of, you know, this the old Earth dying and all that, to more of the New Age belief, all that. Yeah, I've been seeing so many of them lately. Just I guess I got down on that thread on TikTok, and if you look at the pictures of it, it looks just like dirt on the lens. You know, people are like swearing up and down. You know, this is it. You know, I mean, it's always there, and they'll show a different picture from a different angle, and they're like, "See, it moved," and all that. I'm like, "Come on, people." I mean, you guys know me. I go down some serious rabbit holes, but I'm like, "Come on." I mean, I even see that.
Get
So,
real, man.
right. But
There's also the conspiracy that the moon is a giant spaceship that's been
yeah.
disguised and is orbiting our planet.
Did you ever watch that movie Moonfall?
I might have.
It came out a couple of years ago. It's kind of goofy. I mean, it took every theory about the moon being a spaceship, and it took everything and combined it into one movie. You know, yeah. See, Enzo, I didn't even know about that. Enzo said we had just had an annular eclipse 6 months ago. Nobody lost their minds over that. Yeah, I didn't even know about it. Didn't even think anything about it. You know, but I know the last time, the 2017 one, they let us go outside. Were you working there yet, or
I
had
was
you just
not.
started?
No,
I
I
think it was
I started in 2019.
okay. So it may have been just before you started because our
I
old
was
manager
working at
was
the
there,
school at that point,
and
and
you
we
know
did all go outside.
yeah, the company came out and gave everybody glasses because they knew they couldn't stop people from going out and looking at it. And so I imagine they'll probably do the same thing again this year.
Probably.
Yes, it was Enzo. Enzo said he saw Moonfall. They greatly exaggerated the gravity effects for it. Said it was silly Art Bell based fun for a movie. Though, yeah, it was a fun movie. It was corny at the best, you know, but you know they said they had, you know, AIs and all that in it, and it was fun. I mean, I'll say that it's a good Saturday night movie if there's nothing else on,
Yeah.
just to kick back and watch. You know, I mean, it's kind of comical,
I'm still waiting for us to store nuclear material on the moon so we can blow it out of orbit.
right?
I loved Space 1999. I'm sorry.
Mhm. But yeah, um, but I don't know. I mean, but let's kind of war game it though. What happens if that earthquake hits? If it's as big as New Madrid, you know, I mean, we're talking what if now. I mean, that's kind of the theme of the show. Depending on where you're at, man. I mean, that's all I could really say is make sure you have your stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I would,
3 days, 3 weeks,
yep.
3 months.
And I would definitely say follow what is being recommended if you're in that area. You know, in any area with the eclipse is definitely make sure you have enough food. Definitely make sure you have enough water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enzo said, "How freaking fast will the moon traveling in space 1999 to be at a new star system every week?" I guess I never watched that.
Well, it's a little before your time.
Oh man, that's pretty bad. You know, I told you what my daughter told me or said yesterday. 'Cause I told the kids to go do chores, and my son wasn't really quite listening. He was kind of wound up, and my daughter said to that told him that he needed to respect the elderly. So I'm like, but I'm not elderly yet.
No, no. I don't even quite qualify for that.
Mm,
She is gonna put you in a nursing home.
I'm sure she
You're gonna
is.
watch it. It's
I imagine, but
gonna be in
I
Shady
love her.
Pines.
Yep, I'm pushing up daisies probably. She's gonna be the death of me. I love her, but she's gonna be the death of me. And but yeah, I mean, I would definitely follow the recommendations of making sure you have enough food, water, all that good stuff, especially with what's going on with the eclipse, the amount of people. Make sure you don't have to get out in the stores. You know, I would do it now
Keep off
before
the
people
highway.
start showing up, you know, because I'm going to go back to the, uh, well, I mean, like the Homesteading Expo, we weren't prepared. So we went and bought lunch, cost me $80. So I was like, well, tomorrow we're going to get sandwiches. We're doing sandwiches. You know, that was just short sighted. You know, then my wife made the comment every year from now on, we're bringing our own lunch because you can go out there and make a sandwich, bam, bam, or whatever you bring, eat real quick. Then you're back to doing
Yeah.
whatever you want to do
I'll pick up
instead of
Subway on the
waiting in
way or
line.
something.
Right. Um, so for somebody that preaches preparation, I was unprepared. Didn't think about it. You know, because last year we went to one of the food trucks and just kind of took it for granted. But sitting there looking $80 for food, yeah, that's kind of crazy.
It is.
For food truck food, it wasn't fabulous. It wasn't terrible. I mean, it was mediocre at best. But you know, for $80, I was like, man, for $80, we could
We
do
could have gone
something
out someplace
else,
fancy, yeah.
right? Um, so yeah, definitely make sure you have your food, your water, any kind of emergency supplies you may need.
Medication.
Um, yes, absolutely.
Refill your meds before you don't want to be on the roads.
Right. You don't want to get out there because of the people. I mean, whatever you think's going to happen on the 8th. I mean, like I said, I truly believe it's just going to be an eclipse. Um, but I'm not going to rule the possibility out of something happening, just because of my conspiracy mindedness. Be a good time to have a EMP or something like that.
Yep. Everybody
You
out
know.
on the road, stranded,
Yep.
car won't start.
Yep. Then you're gonna have millions of displaced people. So maybe that's going overboard, but I live in that world.
Well, you think about it, that would be a perfect time to
Yeah,
cause havoc.
absolutely it would.
You set off an EMP that day, there'd
Right.
be literally, like you said, millions of people out of position.
Right. You know, flights. A lot of people are going to be flying into these locations. And the FAA even came out and gave a warning saying that flights will be disrupted, all that. So it's a good idea just to be ready. You know, if you're going to these places,
Cover your bases.
cover your base. Yeah. I mean, have your food, have your water, have extra clothes and
Take
shoes
a
and
get
all
home
that.
bag.
Yep. It's not a bad idea to have. I mean, and for once, I'm guessing that's Chris.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe Noah should have kept his motorized bike. Yes, sir. Enzo, we do. EMP shield.
Yep. And
EMP
they
shield.
make an excellent product and it's affordable.
Right.
Was it
It
about
protects cars.
$350?
I haven't looked in a while. But yeah, it's they protects cars, ATVs,
Generators.
your home, generators, pretty much anything you want now. There's a line for it. Um, they say they're pretty easy to install. I have not bought one.
3 wires, I believe.
Yeah, something like 3 wires to it. So wouldn't be bad, for home protection and all that. But yeah, EMP Shield, check it out. I mean, it'll help the show. It'll help you. Um, that may not be a bad idea, Enzo.
Well, it says
Uh,
they are supposed to work against a virtually infinite number of EMPs or one lightning strike. So if
lightning
you're out
strikes suck.
weather watching, it
Yep,
could save your butt.
yep. Or if your vehicle is parked under a tree, that could save your butt too.
Yes.
Ask me how I know.
Listen to some of our early shows.
hmm Cost me a new car and damage to my house and garage and all that good stuff.
You're still fixing on it, aren't you?
Well, we didn't get everything fixed, but some of the stuff we didn't really have to.
Okay.
But the biggest loss was the car. So, but yeah, it was crazy. The lights were on. There was nothing going on. The lights were on in that vehicle. And just had to let the battery run down because you couldn't turn them off. And the fight with the mechanic and the insurance company, that was a pain in the butt too. So if you want to avoid that headache, you might make that investment because we are now moving into storm season, and they're saying it's going to be pretty active this year.
You'd need a licensed electrician to install it on your house, but you should be able to do it to your car yourself in about 10 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, definitely good idea. But yeah, if you're going, make sure you're prepared to go. I wouldn't, especially if you're driving. Make sure you have your supplies. It's going to be kind of cool still. Make sure you
Take
have
a little
extra
food,
blankets in your
take a little water.
vehicle, food, water, extra clothes, extra shoes. Because if you got to walk, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's something to seriously think about. And I would recommend that if you're going to make a road trip anywhere.
Yeah, you should have some supplies. If you're going to make any kind of road trip,
Oh, hey,
you know,
mom, how you feeling? My mom's on. She's been out of it for about a week. So,
I'm glad to see you're back on here.
but yeah, definitely be prepared. It's not hard to do. I mean, it's not hard to throw some bottled water. Always have road snack. Yes, sir. Yes, Enzo. He said you should always have road snacks.
Yep.
Um, drinks of your
Peanut,
choice, whatever. Yep.
whatever.
And it's not hard. I mean, they've got coolers now. Like we took that cooler down there Saturday. It's still ice cold. I mean, there's no ice in it anymore, but the water's still ice cold. Keeps it cold for days. So something to think about. With the coolers nowadays, I mean, you can throw your food in there, have it there for a few days if you need to. And if you got to go, I mean, make sure you got stuff that you can throw in a bag or whatever. If you don't have anything in your bag. So, good. I'm glad to hear you're feeling better, Mom. But yeah, man, I'm kind of tapped out already for the show tonight, and we got another half hour to go.
Yeah, I'm getting a little tapped out myself. My painkillers are wearing off my tooth.
Oh, yep.
Take care of your teeth, kids. Don't be like me.
But yeah, it's like I said, with this whole eclipse thing. I mean, I'm going to be the first to tell you, I probably wouldn't pay much attention to these conspiracy theories. And that's coming from me. I mean, if you listen to the show regularly, you know the type of person I am and what I think.
They're still interesting to look at, though.
Yeah, they are. Yep. Enzo said his only medical bills are dental related.
Yeah, I almost grabbed a pair of pliers and did my own dental work the other day.
My dad used to. I used to watch that old man in the bathroom with a butter knife prying his teeth out. No deadening, nothing. I'm like, golly.
Yeah.
Let me walk you through it.
No, I was hurting bad enough the other night that it wouldn't have been any extra pain. I already
Really?
hurt as bad as it was going to hurt. So,
Well, he always said, when you break the nerve off, he said it really don't hurt anymore.
sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I was looking at that today, Enzo. It's about 90% somewhere in here. Yeah, I mean that'd be cool.
It'll
I'm
get
pretty
pretty
sure
dark. Yeah.
it'll be darker than the last one.
Yeah.
I mean, the last one it got dim, but it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was dark.
Remember when I was a kid once going out and watching one through a welding helmet?
Yeah, yeah. I was in high school, and we just came out of the shop to go watch it, and we grabbed welding hoods, and watched it. And so I'm betting, I mean, Caleb, my 9-year-old, was asking about. He came up here like right before the show. He saw me doing some looking at it, and he was asking if he was going to get to see it. And I said, you have to ask your teacher, but I bet they take everybody outside to look at it, and they'll probably give you glasses and all that, So
Yeah.
I'm betting it'll be all right. Wow, it was raining up there. I mean, it's crazy. We only live a couple hours away from you, and it's crazy the weather difference just in those, 100 miles or 120 miles or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because I heard one of the pilots got back from Wichita today, and he said it was like 36 degrees up in Wichita.
Yeah. It was like 55, 60 degrees here. And it was like,
good old southeastern Kansas spring weather, isn't it?
well, we have like fake spring and, second winter.
Enzo said it's 34 up there right now. Dang, are you guys going to get any of that storm, that snowstorm? So I know out west it was supposed to. They're in blizzard conditions out west.
Yeah. It's crazy. Well, it wasn't that many years ago. We had that March 31st blizzard here.
Mm-hmm.
We got what? 12 inches of snow, 14?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Didn't last very long, but it came down hard.
Yeah, it's probably, I don't know, 11, 12 years ago. May 1st, it was snowing here down in Coffeyville.
Yeah.
I got video of it from when we were living down there. I was big old giant snowflake. Was raining in snow, but yeah. Enzo said we weren't supposed to get any snow, but who knows? Wichita is always on the dividing line of nice and apocalypse. You're right.
I've been there during both types of weather, actually.
You guys get a lot more tornadoes up there than we do too.
I watched McConnell Air Force Base get blown away in my rearview mirror.
Really?
We just gone through, and they came over the radio, said everybody evacuate. McConnell Air Force Base is getting hit by a tornado. I looked at my brother and said, "No, it's not. We just drove, and we were not even past the golf course at McConnell, and looked in the rearview mirror and just saw this tornado just completely obliterate these buildings." Like,
that's what I don't understand. Is the government put an Air Force base right in the middle of Tornado Alley? And it's not the only one. You got Tinker in Oklahoma City. And it's crazy to think about. I mean, you have multi-million-dollar aircraft on the ground.
Yeah.
And not to mention lives and, hangars and all support gear and all that stuff. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean,
I just watched it all blow away.
Yeah, it's like Wichita gets hit every year with something.
Yeah.
It was like last year, my son that's going to school up there, they just laid new sod down. Grass is beautiful and all that, where they're doing a lot of construction. And he sent me a picture after this storm blew through. I think it was like an F-0 tornado. I mean, all the sod was all tore up and everything else. I'm like, it's crazy. Went right between two dorms.
Yeah.
I was like, man. Yeah, he said as Enzo said, it's strategic from World War II perspective, not near the coast for ocean invaders, and that makes sense, But I can't believe.
Yeah, where we work is on the old Army airfield.
Yep, yep. I know we're a place not far from here on a hilltop, and believe it or not, Kansas has a couple hills, not many, but it's got a couple, and but on a hilltop where they used to have a lookout tower, where during World War II, because it's just north of Coffeyville, and Coffeyville was an old air base too, and they had just a lookout tower that guys would go out and sit and watch for Japanese or German bombers. It's crazy to think about in Kansas.
Well, and Kansas was producing a large amount of the war materials for the war at that time. So it was a valid target.
And so he said Mark tried to talk him into buying a house at the bottom of a hill. He said they do
It's just
exist.
because
There's
I
a
love you,
few
man.
around.
You need to be close.
There is a
Like,
few.
hang out in my living room at least twice a week close. You need to be close, man.
But yeah, man, you guys just with all this stuff going on with the eclipse, I know we're a few weeks out or a couple weeks out now. What?
2 weeks.
Yep, 2 weeks from today. So just pay attention to your surroundings, especially if you're going down there. Who knows what can happen? And I'm not saying conspiracy wise, I'm saying the possibility of things.
And it is tornado season in
It
Kansas.
absolutely is.
So I've got that in my other pants. Oh, wait, I don't wear pants. Pants are for losers.
Enzo wants Mark to spot him 220K with it includes 20-ish acres and oil well.
That'll work. That'll work.
But yeah, definitely keep your head on a swivel. Anytime you get around a lot of people, that many people, there's a chance something could happen. Have your, know your exits, know how to get out of there. Just pay attention. Yeah, I mean, I'm really bad about when we go to restaurants. I'm always watching people. I'm just paying attention, and I don't trust a lot of people, if that makes sense.
It does.
But honestly, I'm still watching people. But down at the expo, I don't get any of that feeling.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. It's crazy to think, especially because I'm paranoid. I may not show it, but I am. I'm constantly watching people, just picking up on people, but down there, man, it was just we're all there for the same reason. There's nobody trying to hurt anybody, and I imagine there's a lot of people carrying too.
Oh yeah, you were probably one of the safest places in the state at that point.
Probably.
Be like the guy who kind of tried to rob a gun store at gunpoint.
Right.
Didn't work out well.
Yes, Enzo, you're right. Most men typically will watch out for threats. It's normal. It used to be. Yeah. I have thoughts on that as well. And I've kind of got something in the works to talk about that, but not here. So, but yeah, I mean, men have gotten a long way away from where I think they should be. The whole chivalry is dead thing. And I don't know. I'm not going to go on that rant. It's been a nice, fun, relaxing show tonight. Nothing too stressful. But do keep an eye on the news. There's a lot of stuff with Russia going on, a lot of stuff with China going on. So just pay attention. If you haven't started preparing, I want to implore you now to start.
If you need a list of things, check out our Facebook page. I got 2 places posted to the top. If you need a list of stuff that you can pick up for cheap on Amazon, drop me a line. I'll send you my list.
Yeah. If you have questions about anything, preparedness related or whatever, email us. shoot us a direct message on Messenger. That's what we do this for, is to help.
Yeah.
Give
Believe
people
it or not,
ideas.
Temu has a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I've never shopped there. I've been on there a couple times, and that's about it.
I've been shopping for high power slingshots.
Cool.
Yes.
I kind of want one of those that shoot arrows.
I've seen those. Those are
Those
cool.
are cool.
Yeah.
But I just kind of want one just to have it, not really, But anyway, guys, like I said, I'm kind of tapped out, kind of out of stuff, trying to get back in the swing of things. It's going to get busy for me, especially next month. Soccer season's kicking in. We'll have games 4 nights a week. So I may be hit or miss, in and out here every now and again. Whether I can make it to the show or not, we're going to try. But, once I see the schedule, we'll know more about it. We can plan around it. Definitely keep an eye out. Hopefully next week we'll get it rolling with On the Fringe. Hey, cool, Enzo. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate it. You're more welcome, buddy. Hey, I do want to give a shout out to everybody. I want to pull this up real quick. Let's see what we got here. I meant to do this earlier. Oh, no, wrong one. Where'd he go? I do want to give a shout out. We shared the link on here. Enzo kind of got with Sonny's wife, got the link for their GoFundMe. And it's a phenomenal job everybody did helping them out. I do want to say thank you to everybody. The goal was $3,000 and we almost tripled that. So a big shout out and a big thank you to everybody that donated, especially to Sonny's family and their need and all that. Sonny's definitely going to be missed. And hopefully you guys caught that show, the tribute for Sonny. Sonny was a great guy. So I want to say thank you to everybody that donated that came from here. Definitely appreciate it. So, yeah. But anyway, guys, that's kind of all I've got. Keep an eye out for On the Fringe next week. I think, are we still doing hospice stories?
Nurses. Yep.
Hospice nurse stories. Yeah, it's pretty intriguing, pretty interesting to look into. Hopefully I've got a little more time now. I can look at stuff before I really jump off into soccer. For right now, I don't know my daughter's soccer practice schedule. I haven't heard from the coach yet. My practice schedule, because I'm coaching my son's team. They didn't give me my daughter's team like I wanted, but that's okay. I don't know her practice schedule, so we'll just play it by ear then. Hopefully it's early enough I can make it back in time to do the shows, but we'll see.
Yep. Check out Border Town Strange on Wednesday.
Border Town Strange. Is that this Wednesday? Their next show?
This Wednesday.
And I think they're doing a
part two on cemeteries.
Yeah, part 2 on cemeteries. I caught a little bit of that last one. It's pretty interesting. Definitely go support the ladies out. They've supported us since we've been going. Now they're full-fledged members of On the Fringe. Big integral part of the show. And I don't think, I think they just added so much more to the show because they're intelligent.
There is definitely a lot of value added there. And I will say this, they are both smarter than me.
They're well researched. So there's a reason Jess is called Notebooks. You guys know. Anyway, guys, we do appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being patient with us. And, everybody, you guys have a good night, and we'll see you next episode.
Good night, folks.